Committee, charged with legalizing more apartment units, legalizing accessory dwelling units, eliminate or reduce parking requirements, more quickly and predictably approve developments that meet zoning laws, build more affordable housing near transit, establish and expand affordable housing trust funds, improve housing voucher programs, maintain and establish emergency rental assistance programs, inventory and allocate public land for affordable housing, and support community land trusts. This committee will take place on day 1.
To address this crisis in the first budget, I would sell all residential property in the land bank. I don't know why a city needs an inventory of thousands of residential properties. I would look to have either residents buy them directly or have black and brown developers have an opportunity to develop those properties. The second thing is I would float a bond. If you look at these pro formas, it's just like the kind of gap I dealt with in the grocery business. They can't afford to meet the rent that's affordable. And so what you do is instead of a 20-year amortization, you float a bond with a 40-year amortization, bringing down your break-even costs and getting to affordable rent. And we would make that bond financing available to the affordable housing developers. And finally, I want to add a 5% cap on real estate taxes to stop this gentrification problem where you're forcing people out of their homes, and add an advocate to help lower-income individuals fight the system on tax appeals and on sharp sales.
Thank you. I've spent a lot of time in my career in this space. I grew up in North Philadelphia. I'm a product of public housing. So when we talk about housing and housing insecurity, I've lived it. What we've done in the time that I served in City Council, and I think that City Council has done tremendous work in leading the discussion around housing development. We have created public-private partnerships with CDC, and we have more than 500 affordable units going up and being leveraged in the most gentrifying parts of what was formerly the 7th Councilmatic District. In our district, we gave away more land to individuals than all the other districts combined. Why? Because that public land belongs to the community, and that is how we're going to get affordability and ensure that folks can develop and grow their own housing stock in the city of Philadelphia. As it relates to models, whether it's the land bank, whether it's what we're doing in the city of Philadelphia, we need to do more. I would be the first mayor that come forward and put forward our own voucher program in a fixed rate housing model that you can see on my website. Thank you.
Rebecca.
Affordable housing is one of the key and pressing issues in our city. When we talk about affordable housing, we first need to acknowledge the racist history of housing policy, both in this city and across the country. And we need to acknowledge it in order to be intentional with how we fix it. As mayor, on day 1, I would work to transfer the 8,500 vacant lots and properties owned by the city to create affordable housing in all of our neighborhoods. As mayor, I would work to protect renters from unjust eviction while also protecting mom and pop landlords. And as mayor, I would work to go door to door, city employees and volunteers, in gentrifying neighborhoods, to knock on doors, to help enroll our longtime seniors and owners in the city programs so that they can stay in their homes. Thank you.
Warren.
In all fairness, I agree with virtually everything these fine people have suggested, and I'm adopting all the ideas to deal with affordable housing. I'm a renter myself. I will put a cap on how much someone can charge for rent. I'm also looking into smart housing and what you can produce housing in less than 24 hours and build them and make them affordable. I'm looking forward to adopting all these principles because there's some great ideas, and all these things are going to have to come together for us to make housing affordable. And I thank you so very much, Mr. Allen Diamond.
Thank you. I think there's a couple issues here. Number one, You know, the top 50 cities in the country, Philadelphia has some of the lowest average home prices. For the top 50 cities in the country, we have some of the lowest average income. So in many ways, we have affordable housing, but we also have an income issue. And so we have to address both. In the short term, we have to make housing affordable, utilizing the land bank and all the other tools. But in the long run, we need better paying jobs. In the country, we produce more than twice the number of low-paying jobs of the national average in this country. But in the housing area, there is a tool called a buy-down. I'm very familiar with it from the housing market, where you buy down the interest rate, where the government could help people afford homes. We want people to be homeowners. That's how you build generational wealth. The average net worth of a tenant is $4,000. The average net worth of a homeowner is $200,000. We need to build generational wealth. We need to get people into buying homes. Thank you.
Thank you all for your response. The next question is entitled, Your First 100-Day Plan. The answers will be provided in this order. Jeff Brown, Rita Sanchez, Rebecca Reinhardt, Warren Bloom, Alan Dom, Amin Brown, Sherelle Parker, Derek Green, Helen Gim, James DeLeon. The question is, according to our survey, residents cited the combination of crime, drugs, and public safety as the biggest issues facing the city. In addition, illegal dumping, litter, abandoned cars, and dirty streets, and I'm gonna add potholes, have garnered our city the nickname Philadelphia. These problems have only gotten worse in recent years. What are your plans to address these issues in your first 100 days if you are elected mayor?
Thank you. You know, when you think about these problems, we have a massive leadership and management problem. You see our workers, our 25,000 workers, busting their you-know-what, trying to pick up our trash and fix our problems. But we're still doing things the same way we did them 100 years ago. And we needed a modernization of how we run this. And to be honest, we need to treat our employees better. And in a lot of times, we're short like 5,000 workers because our pay has become very uncompetitive. So we need a modernization of government and modern employment situation. We also need cameras. People who dump should be prosecuted. We should make an example of them. It's completely unacceptable. And we've allowed it. We've allowed it to happen. Same with drugs. We're a little too soft. We don't implement our laws. People selling drugs, we got to go after them and make an example of them. And we need to manage. That's what I bring to the table.
Thank you. If you go on our website, we put on a 100-day plan. We know who the next shooter is, we know who the next victim is, and we know where it's going to happen. Those are the hotspot corners. What would I do in the first 100 days? We know cameras work. I've called for a citywide camera program. We know better lighting works. We would go to those 500 intersections, put brand new lighting up there, stabilize the housing in the neighborhood, clean the neighborhood, and deploy police properly to them. We know the next victim, know the next perpetrator, know the next location. And city government has to wrap itself around those hotspots so that we can protect the most vulnerable.
In my first 100 days as mayor, I will make our city safer and cleaner. As mayor, on day one, I will hit the ground running, declare a citywide emergency, activate the Emergency Operations Center to coordinate the city department to tackle gun violence in the 14 zip codes out of the 40 that have the greatest percentage of the violence. As mayor, I will appoint a drug czar to coordinate and tackle the drug crisis in our city. I will break up the open-air drug markets and provide compassionate care to those suffering from substance use disorder. And as mayor, I will clean our city streets, and I will tow the abandoned cars. I will make our city clean so that the beauty of our city shines through. Thank you.
Again, I'm the only block captain up here, and I want to use this analogy. Faith comes by hearing something. Because of my background in media, what I'm going to do initially is launch a full-scale attack on dumping. I'm not only going to increase the fines for illegal dumping, but I will have public service announcements. We have to change the culture and the atmosphere of Philadelphia. You hear something long enough, you're going to start doing it. Even the songs, you know, y'all know what I'm saying. I'm going to have everybody like you to be making shout-outs. Hi, this is so-and-so from wherever what section of the city you are. Be ready to get on television. We're going to load this city with public service announcements with positive, upbeat messages that deals with cleanliness, godliness, and everything else that's going to make this city the place we should be. So be ready to be on television, and when we change the atmosphere, you're going to see why. Thank you.
Alan. Yes.
Okay. I did publish a 10-point plan very early on for the first 100 days to address all the issues you've outlined, including crime emergency day one, public health emergency in Kensington day one, cracking down on illegal guns, going after the most violent people on our streets. And very few people. It's similar in all cities. And also installing cameras at high schools and all across the city, and cleaning vacant lots, sealing abandoned buildings, filling the potholes, and towing abandoned cars. But I also want to mention I would have a public safety cabinet day one that would meet on a weekly basis, consisting of all law enforcement and community leaders, and I would conduct those meetings myself. I do want to mention Councilman Jones is here today, right over here, and I noticed he introduced good legislation on Thursday for, I think it's a new public safety director, and I applaud that, so thank you.
Yes, so my plan for the first 100 days would be to meet with each and every council person and tour their districts to figure out what the needs are in those districts. And then from there, we will put together many city services offices or districts, many city services offices in each district to assist the council person to address those issues at hand. The mayor can't do this alone. This is going to be us working together with the council people. That plan will include an aggressive blight removal program in each and every council district, a beautification program in each and every council district, a sealing vacant property and fencing off abandoned and vacant lots, and then also creating an app so the constituents in those districts can take a picture, upload it, and then that city services office will address that issue automatically on the spot. Thank you.
In the first 100 days of a Parker administration, we're going to give Philadelphians a reason to hope again in their city. And we're going to do it by making sure people get a chance to see their tax dollars at work in their neighborhoods, because they haven't seen that. We're going to make it safer by implementing the neighborhood safety and community policing plan that I didn't wait for a poll to tell me that public safety was the #1 priority on the minds of Philadelphians. I introduced it during my tenure at council when I had a seat at the table. 300 officers proactively engaged in community policing, not responding simply to 911 calls, and getting to know the people they are sworn to protect and serve. In addition to that, PHLTCB, when there were commercial quarters that needed to be cleaned, we established a program that became citywide. Hired people in neighborhoods, paid them $15 an hour, and now they're cleaning commercial quarters. I'm calling President Biden, Governor Josh Shapiro, and tell them Philadelphia can't foot the bill alone. And I'm not going to be a weak mayor because I'm asking our president and our governor for help. We deserve it.
The work begins before the first 100 days. It starts right after the primary, May 17th. That's how we're going to start to change and bring hope back to the city of Philadelphia. The fact that when I release my public safety plan, we're going to have a 25% or more reduction in shootings in the city of Philadelphia, and we're going to do that in a plan that we're going to have presence, more police officers, accountability, work with our U.S. Attorney's Office,
opportunity, investing in small businesses, as well as providing job opportunities, and also investment, and using my experiences from around the country to bring back more dollars to the bipartisan infrastructure law to make our city safer. But it also ties into using some of the things we had in the past. In fact, during the street administration, when I was a deputy city solicitor, we had a community life improvement plan. We're going to take that plan and put it on steroids. So we're going to go throughout the community to remove abandoned cars. We're going to find people. We're going to clean our streets. But we're going to have a partnership with the citizens of the city of Philadelphia, because you should expect more and deserve better from our city. That's what you'll get from a green administration. Hope that our city can look better and be a better city.
I'm running for mayor because every neighborhood in this city should feel like it's home, and I'm here to reclaim our neighborhoods for our neighbors. I've made very clear that on day one, I intend to establish a state of emergency to make sure that all of our city agencies are coordinated and zeroed in on 3 big areas: solving violent crime, for sure, making sure that we have forensics and a modern forensics lab so we can actually solve crime here in the city, so we can support young people who are in the path of violence so that we can help and make sure that they are safe when they're going to and from school, because no parent should ever have to worry about the safety of their children on SEPTA or on the footsteps of a school building. I'm here also to make sure that 911 response times goes down, because when people call for help, they got to know that help is on the way. When it comes to the cleanliness of the city of Philadelphia, there are many difficult problems in the city. Delivering city services cannot be one of them. It's why I'm going to make sure that we have a dedicated department solely to sanitation and waste management, so we can make sure that our streets are cleaned up and that we can handle illegal dumping here in Philadelphia.
Please understand that my number one concern as mayor, just like it was as a judge for 34 years, is the safety of you, the people. I can't be cleaning up a street if you're in danger. So from day one, I'm going to initiate what's known as a local incident management system by declaring a dramatic incident of all gun violence in Philadelphia. And by the LIMS program is basically a set of processes and procedures that allows the city government to combat gun violence by enabling the necessary responders to work more effectively and efficiently together to manage the root causes of gun violence. And then once I get that under control in the particular area, we will then clean that area. Thank you.
Thank you all for your responses to the questions thus far. Alan Dom actually beat me to the punch. I was going to, and I still am going to acknowledge any other elected officials who are in attendance. If you are, if you can please stand. Mr. 4th District, Curtis Jones. Relax, man. All right. Morgan Seaford State Rep, and I do believe our own Senator Vincent Hughes, who's a member and trustee of Mount Carmel Baptist Church, is also present. Oh, and Kathy just walked in. Kathy, she just celebrated her birthday. Are there any other elected officials present? Thank you all for being in attendance. The next question is around public schools. The questions will be responded to in this order: Warren Bloom, Sherelle Parker, Derek Green, Helen Gim, Alan Dom, Amin Brown, Jeff Brown, James De Leon, Maria Sanchez, and Rebecca Reinhardt. Philadelphia's public schools are facing an ongoing crisis. Underfunding, charter schools, school closures, layoffs, and mismanagement have hurt students, teachers, staff, and the entire community. What is your vision for the Philadelphia School District, and how do you intend to achieve it?
Again, what I want to say is this. This is probably the most important issue right now, because we're talking about our future.
our children. I've already looked into the fact, we're talking about management. Probably the best person I know that can manage the school district right now is a lady by the name of Veronica Joyner. And guess where her office is? Her school is directly across the street from the school board. I've talked to her and I told her, I asked her, because I worked for Veronica for years, I said, Veronica, after I'm mayor, would you be willing to deal with these issues in the mismanagement? She has probably the #1 charter school in the state. And she said she would tackle that problem because she can handle it. Veronica Joyner will be the school board president. Right.
Sherelle.
As a certified secondary English teacher, I know that education is the way we will close the gap between the haves and the have-nots and take people off of the poverty hamster wheel. That means making sure our young people can compete in a global economy. And you can't do that until you change the time that young people are in school. Make it open as early as 7:30 and as late as 6 o'clock. We're not going to work the farm in the summer. So summertime, every access to enrichment that is available, we need to make sure that it's in our schools. Finally, everyone is not going to college. We need to ensure that every industry growing in the city of Philadelphia, life sciences, biotech, the building trades, everything that we can do, we should be trained in order to do it. Thank God for the Commonwealth Court ruling that will help to drive more dollars, but we're going to need an intergovernmental approach because some schools don't need to be remediated. They need to be demolished and blown up and rebuilt so our kids are attending schools in places that will allow them to compete. Thank you.
So our schools are in crisis. And as someone whose mother taught in a school district for 31 years, 26 years at Olney, my son graduated this past June from a public school, and we had to fight to get him the best services that he could, being on the autism spectrum. We did it at Houston, and we also did it at Hill Freeman. But it's important to make sure we're exposing young people to the opportunities that they can have. When my mom was at Olney had one of the best auto body shops. You came out of Olney, you could get a job right on Wilkie on Broad Street. But we're not exposing young people to the opportunities to expand their minds, to do things and have the opportunity to be the future leaders of our city. We do that by bringing opportunities into the city, into our schools, exposing them to the programs that I went through, like Inroads and Prime and AFNA. When I was at Olney, I had a chance to teach part-time when I was in law school, and we had students going to St. Christopher's, expose them to healthcare. We don't do that in this city. When Dr. Wellington came in to the school district, and I talked to him and said, listen, I'm not talking to you as a council member, I'm not talking to you as an attorney, I'm talking to you as a parent. We need to make sure we change our schools for the better.
I wouldn't be before you if it wasn't for my passion for education. I've made very clear that every single mayor before me has turned his back on our public schools. The last mayor closed down 30 public schools. This mayor has disbanded the Mayor's Office of Education. We need a mayor who knows what to do with our public school systems from inside and outside. I've helped not just talk about a school modernization plan, I helped lead one. When I heard that kids didn't have access to clean water in schools, we made sure that every single child got access to clean water, and I'm on a school modernization campaign to make sure that the money that it will eventually come from the state of Pennsylvania will make sure that it goes towards schools because it's a promise to every single family that your child matters. I've been very clear that the gun violence issue is directly related to the education problems we have in neighborhood after neighborhood, and that's why it is a after school. The city and the school district must combine together with an after school, evening, weekend, summer, year-round programming and activities to keep our young people safe. And finally, the superintendent will be part of my cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you. When we talked about the crises, when you think about it, affordable housing, poverty, good paying jobs, crime, all tie back long-term to education. That's really the key, because a better paying job, housing becomes more affordable, lifts you out of poverty, and the crime will reduce. So in education, I've been very clear about this. I would put mandatory teaching, K through 12, of financial literacy, mandatory teaching of technology, K through 12, mandatory teaching of entrepreneurship, especially in the Black and brown community where entrepreneurs are about 2 to 3%. It should be 15 to 20%. We need to teach people how to create generational wealth. And then in high school, something that I did in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade allows students the option to go to school 4 days a week, but on the 5th day, work in a job, get credit, get paid, get a summer job, and in this labor market, the employers will say, hey, Alan, can you come in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after school? We need you because there's a labor shortage. That would be, and also for adults, we should be teaching in our libraries and churches across the city, financial literacy, tech, and entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Yes, so our administration, we're going to create an inspection team that's going to inspect and assess each and every school to see if we need to knock down or rebuild or relocate the school within that area. And that team is going to be filled with union professionals and actual inspectors who know what they're doing. And we're going to fully invest into technology to bring our children and our education system into 21st century learning. And we're going to bring back the trades. When I attended 9th grade, I attended BOP. They took carpentry out of the schools when I was in 10th grade. We need to bring that back. We need to make schools attractive again for our young people. And that's what our plan includes. Thank you.
So we have really diminished career and technical education over my lifetime, and 75% of our young people or more don't plan to go to college, don't go to college. And what they need is education to get them a good job, maybe a $50,000 a year job. So that's going to be an urgent crisis to bring them back in modern industries where there's lots of jobs available. I want to measure our success on those young people's starting salary. I want to get them the job and make sure they're doing good in that job. The second thing is our schools are physically a disgrace. We need to probably knock down a good number of these schools or totally renovate them. We need a 20-year rebuilding plan. The fact that the Supreme Court case that we won, and there's going to be negotiations in Harrisburg on a fair funding model, gives us an opportunity to potentially get capital dollars to help fund part of this vision. And you know, old schools with old boilers that are half full waste our money. Instead of spending money on kids, we're spending money on old stuff. Let's fix that and spend our money right.
So today, I was in Kensington, taking a look around there with a couple of the organizations there. And on the way here, I received an email from a principal of an elementary school there. And out of everything that she said, the one phrase that stayed with me is, remember, the shooter was a student also. So, to me, what that means is that I'm going to have to get into the poorest schools. I'm going to have to take my local incident management system into those schools and raise those schools up into the standards that it should be. But it's not just the school itself and the student in the school, it's the parent. Because the parents are having a hard time too. So that LIMS program is going to take those parents, give those parents job counseling, entrepreneurship, anger management, what they need in order to help their child go to school on that particular day, and the child is going to go to school safely, and he's going to come home safely.
Thank you. I started today's conversation with saying that the next mayor has to manage a race and equity conversation, and there's no other institution that best exemplifies that than the School District of Philadelphia. And the funding discrimination is a perfect example of one. I went to Girls High, and my counselor told me I wasn't going to go to college. So I transferred to MASPOM, and I did the business route. And like many people here are talking about career technical education, I got an opportunity to work in junior and my senior year of high school. Fortunately, I was the first one in my house to go to college. What do we have to do? We need a good kid-aid school in every neighborhood. Every young person should be able to walk to a good school. We need to give young people real high school options, right? They'll get in the bus, they'll travel to those options, but they have to be about college, career, and access. Community college. I would put high school juniors and seniors in community college because it is much better and more effective to put them in community college, and I would use community college as our workforce development for parents and families to raise the salary and their ability to work. Thank you.
I am a public school parent. My daughter is in 7th grade in the public school system in Philadelphia. And I believe that every family deserves a good school to send their child to. As mayor, I will push the state for more money. I will also appoint a school board that shares my vision for improvement in the school. In both traditional public schools and in charter schools. We need good schools for every child in our city. And as mayor, I will make sure that there is technical training as well as academic courses in every school, and that the library and rec departments of our city are providing programming, library after school, rec center hours. That is how we achieve community health and well-being. Thank you.
Thank you all for your answer to the question. The fourth question involves economic development, and the tone will stem around the Sixers proposal arena. Given the need to create jobs for communities of color and revitalize Market Street East, is the question we should be asking about the 76ers arena proposal. Should this project move forward? Or how can we make sure this project happens in the right way to benefit all communities? If you support or are open to the project, how will you ensure communities of color benefit? If you oppose the project, please state why and what alternatives you have for similar economic development that could revitalize the area, create jobs, and avoid the use of taxpayer or public dollars. And the question will be answered in this order. James D. Leon, Sherelle Parker, Jeff Brown, Maria Sanchez, Alan Dom, Rebecca Reinhardt, Warren Bloom, Amin Brown, Derek Green, Helen Gill. And you'll have 70 seconds to answer this one.
Okay, so as mayor, my administration is not going to infringe on anyone's culture. What you have to understand as far as this situation is concerned, that this is extreme gentrification. Now, we can't allow gentrification of the Chinese community to take place and think that gentrification of our own communities is not going to take place. The situation is not about the stadium where it's built. The situation is on how you get to the stadium. That's where the gentrification comes from. The widening of the roads, the opening of the lanes. So, as far as building up that downtown area, we have city planners. And those city planners work with the mayor's office, with the Chamber of Commerce, the African American Chamber of Commerce, the Normal Chamber of Commerce, the Asian Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, to plan what we need to put down there. And we're also 25% minority and brown people for all city contracts and 10% female for all city contracts, just like the councilman and I did with Dr. Ed Robbins.
I was telling the media guys, you guys can move up to take pictures, but you just can't sit because of the camera angles. So if you needed to get better angles, I was saying you can move up to take your pictures versus trying to sit down because of the camera angles and the limitations. So that's all. So, Sherelle Parker.
Thank you. I want to answer your question directly. I have not declared whether or not I am for or against the proposed new Sixers Stadium on Market Street, but I do want to affirm this. I'm a former 9th District Council person, and there should be no development taking place in any community where the people who are immediately impacted don't have an instinct and major say in what is happening in their community. That is one. Number two, I also went to school at 1118 Market Street when the gallery in Market Street was jumping. You cannot deny that you see shuttered retail buildings up and down Market Street. You cannot deny that crime has increased, that we do need a comprehensive economic development plan for that area that ensures that black and brown people won't simply be, folks who are expected to make $35,000 to $50,000 a year, but actually own some equity in the growth and development of that area. Finally, I want to say this. The mayor has convening power. No one talks about that. I will bring residents, owners on both sides of the table to the table so that we can figure out a way to reach much needed compromise and grow Philadelphia's economy. Thank you.
Jeff.
One of the ways we have kept this the poorest big city in the country is we are against everything. Somebody is against everything in this community. And if someone steps forward and wants to spend $1.5 billion, none of it our money, and is willing to go to the community and listen. I'm not saying they 100% did, but that would be a requirement. You have to listen to the local community and address their concerns about parking and traffic. And if they address the real concerns, then I would have to be for a big project like that under the condition I want inclusion. I want entrepreneurs from the neighborhoods included. I want people building that from the neighborhoods. I need inclusion. I need everyone to benefit from this economic growth. And honestly, every one of these projects in this city will be a fight. Every neighborhood doesn't want anything. And the truth of the matter is, we're the poorest big city in the country. If we don't want to be that way, we're going to have to try to work through these things and be fair about it. Listening to everyone and getting projects like this done.
Maria.
Thank you. I think it's important to recognize that any conversation related to what happens in the border of Chinatown has to be led by the community of Chinatown. Chinatown is an economic engine in addition to being a community for the city of Philadelphia. I understand their economic value. The city has an opportunity with the Roundhouse Project in Franklin Square Park to readdress some of the issues we have put on Chinatown first. I'm glad that the stadium discussion has a long runway because I am interested in how we're going to build anything on Market East that has real inclusion, because every stadium project has never met its goal. So if we're not going to build it, own it, and only work at the retail jobs at the end of it, I'm not going to be for any development on Market Street that is not more inclusive.
I would say that I would also, I'm in agreement with my former council member Parker, and as mayor, I would convene both sides, the ownership and the community, to come up with a solution that works for all. There is a way to have a win-win here. And I'll just share with you one thought or idea that I have, and I do believe this is possible. It's been done in other cities. I think we should start thinking about the idea of covering Vine Street from the Ben Franklin Bridge to the Schuylkill. And I think there's economic opportunity there, where maybe half of it becomes parks and recreation, and maybe half becomes office buildings or whatever kind of revenues we can generate for the city. But if we can bring Chinatown to the table and connect the southern part of Chinatown with the northern part, maybe there's an opportunity to move forward with this type of a project. This is tremendous growth. And Mosaic here is the biggest partner here in the construction of this development. We need 20 more mosaics, and in order to do that, we need to loosen up the requirements for RFPs and the applications so smaller firms have that opportunity, especially in the brown and black community. Thank you.
As mayor, I would consider the development of the new Sixers Stadium because it is proposed to bring thousands of jobs to our city. However, we must balance development with fairness. The community needs to be comfortable for any project to move forward. And I think that should be the baseline, that the community has to feel comfortable. As mayor, that's how I would lead. I would convene the stakeholders to see if we could find a path forward. And as mayor, I would also work to address the lack of diversity on our construction sites. We must have pipelines to the jobs on these construction sites so that everyone that lives here benefits. And I would work to do that through training facilities and encouraging and pushing on making sure, making sure that work sites met their goals. Thank you.
Again, I'm not so sure about this because logistically, there's so much congestion already in the Chinatown area. Again, I agree with most of the people up here that Chinatown has to get the fair break out of this. But I'm not sure if this is going to be a practical thing because of the congestion. But I will, however, demand that whatever company gets this contract, they will divide these jobs up fairly and equitably amongst all minorities and even white people too.
State Rep Martin
Yes.
Brown.
Yeah, I am in full support of all projects for Philadelphia.
Start him over.
Yeah, I am in support of all projects for Philadelphia that reflect all of Philadelphia. There are case studies, like one being in Atlanta with Mayor Maynard Jackson, that shows you when we are all included, we all win. So projects that affect downtown must include black and brown.
Green.
So this provides an opportunity for the city, but also a concern because, and I'm glad someone invoked the name Maynard Jackson, because when I came into city council, I said this city needs a Maynard moment, and we have not had that. We've had the Eagle Stadium, we've had Citizens Bank Park for the Phillies, we've had a convention center expansion, there's economic opportunity plans talked about, but at the end of the day, what happens? People don't get the job opportunities that are desired to have. That's why we have the poverty issue we have in our city. That's why we have the public safety issue and concerns we have in the city. I've talked to residents and business owners in Chinatown. I've heard a wealth of perspectives, but I also have not heard how we're going to enhance the Market East plan. What SEPTA's role going to be that? What opportunities are we going to have for black and brown and other business owners in the community to benefit from this project? So I have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, because I've seen what's happened in the past, and we cannot repeat that in the future. And an agreement administration is going to be like a Maynard Jackson administration. If you're not talking inclusion, we're not going forward.
I don't want us to be fooled about this stadium project. First of all, if these doors ever open, they won't open until 2032, and I'm sure as heck not going to wait until 2032 for a real investment in neighborhoods and communities and economic opportunity for the city of Philadelphia. I learned from a long time ago about what stadiums can offer. Many of them are part-time seasonal jobs. We can talk about inclusion, but I want to talk about leading. There's no reason why Market East has to be a debate over one single parcel when all of us know that City Hall down to the river should be a vibrant space of walkable, unique, local, black-led Philadelphia. It should be a best of black Philadelphia. From Harriet's Bookshop to Uncle Bobby's to Snapdragon Flowers and Denise's Bakery. There's no reason why there are empty storefronts, and we should be subsidizing all those places to make sure that we can continue to expand and deliver on economic opportunity down through multiple parcels of Philadelphia. I'm also very clear that I don't want this conversation to just be about Center City. Hubs of economic activity should be in every neighborhood all across Philadelphia. And that includes making sure that we support lots of local small businesses and hubs around in every neighborhood, and not just a handful of billionaire sports owners.
Thank you all for answering the question. The next question is around poverty. I'm going to be very interested to hear how many of you answer this question, because poverty is not something you deal with. It doesn't impact you directly. So I want you to really take time to think about your response to this question. Because as I say every Sunday, at the end of every decision that elected officials make is a human being. Philadelphia has the highest rate of deep poverty of any of our nation's 10 largest cities. Our high poverty rates damage the lives of hundreds of thousands of Philadelphians, 23% of whom live in poverty. What policies do you support to address the problem of poverty in Philadelphia? How would you seek to empower and improve the lives of Philadelphians living in poverty and to reduce Philadelphia's poverty rate? Questions to be answered in this order. Rebecca Reinhardt, Sherelle Parker, Derek Green, Helen Gim, Alan Dom, Amin Brown, Jeff Brown, James De Leon, Maria Sanchez, and Warren Bloom. The timekeeper determines that. 60.
Poverty is a pressing issue facing Philadelphians. As mayor, I would work to tackle this from day one. The way to tackle poverty is through community, both fixing the school system and creating pipelines to good paying jobs. I will make both of those a priority. I also will prioritize helping people living in poverty right now. Fixing the school system, creating workforce pipelines, those could take years to have an impact. We need to help people now. And the way that I'll do that is to make sure that people have money to eat and stable housing. As city controller, I put forth a plan supporting a pilot of universal basic income for our most disadvantaged residents. And as mayor, I will focus on affordable housing so people know where they're sleeping at night. Thank you.
One of the things the Parker administration is going to do to put people on a path to self-sufficiency is to work to get an increase in our minimum wage. We've been fighting for $15. I was fighting for 15 10 years ago, and 15 is no longer the number. If you look at MIT's living wage calculator, that's equivalent to $17.53. But we can't use a bullhorn and go to Harrisburg to tell them, Rep. Cephas, what they're going to do to help the city of Philadelphia. We have to use an intergovernmental approach, just like I described for the Sixer Stadium, and bring interested parties in the room, private sector, public sector, so that we can go to Harrisburg with a unified ask. Second, Philadelphia is the largest city in the nation that doesn't have the ability to charge different rates of taxes for different classes of property. Other cities can charge one rate for industrial sites, commercial sites, and residential sites. We do not, because of a uniformity clause. You got to go to Harrisburg and get a constitutional amendment change to that. I'm the only person with the intergovernmental experience necessary to make it happen, and I'll do what I've always done, deliver.
When you talk about poverty, this is an issue that impacts everything in the city. The fact that we had back-to-back years of over 500 homicides. The fact that we had 27% poverty, but 6% of the businesses with employees are owned by African Americans. So we need to have a mayor that understands small business. Someone who's been a small business owner and a small business lender. I saw redlining, the impact of redlining when I was a small business lender at Meridian Bank in North Philadelphia. That's why, as a council member, I brought the idea of a public bank to the city of Philadelphia, provide access to credit to black and brown businesses so that they can grow. Imagine if a business in Winfield or Chestnut Hill or Mount Airy or Germantown was able to go from 2 to 3 employees to 5 to 6 employees. Impact would that have in that community, in that neighborhood, in the city of Philadelphia? That's why many businesses, and I've talked to businesses as an attorney, also being a former small business owner, the access to credit. And with a public bank, that's what we'll do in the Green administration. We're going to lift up all businesses, help them to grow, and that'll bring down the poverty in the city of Philadelphia, because black and brown people need jobs from small businesses in our city.
I've been very clear that Philadelphia's role as the poorest large city in the country is not by accident. When banks deny black families mortgages, when states defund our public schools, when former mayors shut down libraries and fire stations, what we know is that none of this is by accident. It's by design, whether intended or not. And because of that, everything has to change. It starts with a budget that orients everything around our city towards the neighborhoods and communities who are most in need. It means city services transform and deliver those services out to communities in need. It makes sure that when we have 37% of our children living and breathing in poverty and suffering from it, I am zeroed in on new moms. I want to make sure that when there are people who may be running for mayor who want to take away funding for pre-K, I want to guarantee universal pre-K. I want to make sure that our children have access to childcare, to free after-school programs, to summer school, so that moms and parents do not have to fear for their children's future. We can turn this around, but it's going to have to start local with big investments at the local level.
I think there's two formats here. One is the short term, one is the longer term. In the short term, we need to do everything we can. Last year, we still left $100 million on the table in earned income tax credits that 35,000 families in the city qualified for. We don't do a great job in messaging that. On council, I passed with all my colleagues' support a wage tax bill that reimburses $800 to $1,000, 60,000 families, 200,000 people wage taxes. Very few people apply. We need to get the word out and do better marketing. In the long term, I mentioned it earlier, the wealth of renters, $4,000. The wealth of homeowners, $200,000. We need to do whatever we can to get people to buy their own homes with all types of programs, including the mortgage buy down. And then we also need to create more entrepreneurs. Because when you work in a job, you make a living. When you own, you create wealth. We need more entrepreneurs in the city. And at the end of the day, that's really the key. That's how you build generational wealth. Thank you.
On the ground.
So most of you might know, I personally experienced some serious poverty growing up. Childhood was not easy. Been through a lot. So I deserve a seat at the table to address this problem. My lived experiences, understanding what my constituents go through on a day-to-day basis. I'm still out there serving each and every day, understanding that refrigerators are empty, utilities are off, serious situations that impact everyday lives. So the keys to addressing poverty, like I said in the beginning, affordable housing, that is key. Our residents should not be worried about not having a quality roof over their head and being able to pay their monthly bills. And speaking of paychecks, we need well-paying jobs, not temp jobs, family-sustaining wages. And last but not least, we need quality education. Quality education is paramount. Thank you.
Jeff Brown.
The K through 12, well, let me start out by saying this is the most important problem we have. All of our other problems come from this excessive structural poverty. This is my most important objective, is to nailing this and having substantial transformative change. And I think it's K through 12 reform, bringing career and technical training back and get those young people $50,000 a year jobs. I don't think 40% would drop out if that's the job you had for them. It's reforming the workforce system. This is an area I know a lot about. From the supermarket business, from being chairman of the state workforce board, chairman of PIN, those young people that struggle need to get in a job and learn how to work and be successful. And we have neglected too many of them. And from an economic development standpoint, I want to be focused on taking people out of poverty. I'm not interested in investments that don't take people out of poverty. And we need an equity fund to finance the growth of black and brown entrepreneurs. And it needs to be overwhelming in its magnitude, so we create thousands of them. That would be my goal.
So if you remember at the beginning, I said I'm running for mayor to reduce gun violence and crime and to overturn generational poverty. So this is what the local incident management system does. The reality is that it's a neighborhood revitalization program. So I've told you, I couldn't tell you a little bit about the gun reduction, but part of that gun reduction is seeding neighborhood community groups. That's you. Because it takes a neighbor working to help a neighbor to recover a neighborhood. Now, I have $700 million. I thought I had $1 billion from the American Rescue Plan, but Councilwoman Maria Quinonez corrected me that I only have $700 million. That's $30 million that I'm going to put into the hands of the community, you, because you have to be involved in making our community recover and recovering and making sure that we overturn poverty. You are involved all the way.
Thank you. One of the first things I would do is make sure that every single city department had an anti-poverty strategy, a public safety strategy, an inclusion and an economic development strategy. And that every single department sees itself as part of how we move from the hostile way that we treat poor people in the city of Philadelphia. We disrupt more families than any part of the world based on poverty. And that has what's created the instability. I will also be very unapologetic about making investments in neighborhood. We approve all the tax credit deals downtown, everywhere, everything everybody wants to do. But when we say, let's stabilize families, let's provide income, let's upskill folks, let's get people to go to community college for free, people say it's an expense. So we have to change how we talk about these challenges and be willing to invest in people, not programs. I was someone who had to stand in line. I was someone that had to translate. We are hostile to poor people, and that has to change. And government cannot be part of that problem.
Warren Bloom.
I want to say that poverty will be my most passionate objective. He became poor that we might become rich. I'm probably the only person up here who's not ashamed to admit that I don't have all the answers to all these difficult issues that's dealing with our city. But he offers direction. He said if I'll seek him, he will direct my path. This city needs prayer. I don't care what happens. The Bible says unless God keeps this city, the watchman watches in vain. Pray about it. Who you going to elect for the next mayor has already been chosen. But when was he chosen? Before the foundations of the world. Please, I'm going to acknowledge the Lord Jesus Christ to direct my path to help solve these problems. And I pray that you do the same thing, because he does offer direction.
The next question is around a number of topics that you have all spoken about. Work, development, generational wealth has been echoed several times, well-paying jobs, and education. As mayor, how would you address the racial disparity and lack of opportunities within all of the unions in Philadelphia? And I'll wait, and the answers to that question will be answered in this order. Derek Green, Helen Gim, James DeLeon, Jeff Brown, Maria Sanchez, Rebecca Reinhardt, Warren Bloom, Sherelle Parker, Alan Dom, and then Amin Brown.
So I grew up in a labor household. My mother taught in the school district, as I said earlier, for over 31 years, a member of Philadelphia Federation of Teachers. Also, I was a national leader for Democratic municipal officials, but before I got into that role, I was the chair of the Labor Council. And I went to all of the building trades to kind of learn and understand their programs, and the fact that going out to the communities, that's something that has not been occurring. They have not been in the schools, in the school district to provide those opportunities. We also need to change the complexion of the unions in the city of Philadelphia. So we're going to make sure we're going to have young people trained in our high schools, have the ability to understand what steps need to be taken, and then we're going to meet and talk with the Building Trades Council about why we need to make sure you're part of this issue of poverty and the challenges in our city of Philadelphia. We can't continue to have a situation where we have some people doing some things and other people doing other things. So we need to make sure we are working collectively to move our city forward, because if not, we're going to continue to be the city that has homicides every year, 23 or 27% poverty in the city of Philadelphia, or we need to make sure that Philadelphians can expect more and deserve better from our city.
Thank you. Abigail?
I've been independently elected from the moment I came in. I'm not beholden to any unions or any others. But I've been also very clear that the unions who are with me most look like the people of Philadelphia. They're the unions who fought at the airports and made sure that they got a fair chance at a fair work week. They're the unions who stood up and fought for eviction prevention so that those who are making low wages and are struggling to hold on to their homes and their children and families had a decent chance to make sure that they wouldn't be thrown out of their house. I am committed to seeing transformation within our unions. It's why one of the reasons on day one with our school district, I'm going to make sure that we have a teaching task force that brings back black and brown teachers and invests in them so they can be transformative mentors in our public schools and elsewhere. There's a bigger world that, we need to be showing how we are demonstrating all of this, and you need an independent person who isn't beholden to unions who's gonna make that happen.
James D. Leon?
So I understand that a lot of the unions are scared that they will be giving up jobs to black and brown people at the expense of their people. And the reason for that is because of the scarcity of jobs. By reducing crime, by employing people, we'll expand our tax base. By expanding our tax base, we will expand the city as it builds. More opportunities will come into Philadelphia. This is what I bring to them. I'm bringing more business in this city. You have to open up your coffers and let my people in, because it benefits both of us. There's nothing for you to be scared of in letting brown people in at this stage when we're building the city up together and all of your people have work. And I need my people to have just as much work as you have.
Jeff Brown?
I've been endorsed by a lot of unions, but the unions I've been endorsed by are very diverse. But the other unions, and I've told them this, I will demand diversity. That means I'm going to be with the camera crews in their classes. I better see diverse classes. I'm going to have pre-apprenticeship programs so the young people can pass their tests. And we're going to include that in high school, like I talked about, in career and technical education. If the union is not willing to do this, they will get nothing from that. When those big projects occur, I don't care if they're union or not, if they can't have a diverse workforce. You have my guarantee on that.
Maria Sanchez.
Thank you. I mentioned earlier that I graduated from a career technical education school. I would immediately realign all of the requirements around apprenticeship programs. And let me explain why. The building trades and others sit on state authorizing boards, and they see the curriculum we establish at the schools. And you know what they do? They increase their requirements. No young person who goes through a career technical education program should have to go through another pre-apprentice program. They should be aligned. Stop moving the goalpost on us. Stop moving it for us. But having said that, I think there are some unions who have begun to do some creative stuff, the carpenters, laborers, and others. No project labor agreement, which is the document that allows a union to bid on work, government-funded work, would be honored unless there's real pipelines, not fake ones, where there are work requirements that they know our young people and our folks cannot meet.
So I believe strongly that we must increase diversity on our work sites, in our trades in Philadelphia. And I'll do this in two ways as mayor. The first is to increase technical pathways. We need our schools to be training our students to be able to do technical union work in addition to being college ready. We need both. I would also partner to create pre-apprenticeship programs, such as the laborers training facility, so that we can have pathways to the unions. The second thing I would do as mayor is set strict standards in city contracts so that those that build and do city work have a good percentage of the project going to diverse stakeholders with diverse people on the work sites. As city controller, I've held payments to contractors that haven't done that, and I would do the same as mayor. Thank you.
Warren Bloom.
The next mayor of this city is going to have enough personality and people skills to bring people together. I'm going to have the unions. They're going to have to be able to sit down. I think I have the personality to help motivate them to work together. Again, we all have to solve this problem and work together to deal with the issues here in Philadelphia. I'm asking business owners like Jeff Brown to at least give your people $15 an hour. People can't work for $7 an hour no more. I want the women's disparity to be, women should make the same money as men. And most of you couldn't be a woman if you tried to because of the stuff they have to deal with in this life. So listen, I'm going to hire Sherelle as my deputy mayor. And I'm thinking of another woman too. At the end of the day, get a woman to have to solve these problems.
You can wait after you do your job review for long to answer your question.
Mount Carmel, I opened up by introducing myself as a proud pro-union Democrat. I said it then, and I'm going to say it again. And I'm pro-union because I was raised by a grandmother who was a domestic worker, and when she and the matriarchs got too old where they couldn't get on their hands and knees anymore to clean the homes of wealthy people to get the brown envelope that was left on the table, she had to go get that colored money and their food stamps for me, right? And if you listen, unions give us our 40-hour work week. You have unemployment compensation because of the worker protections that unions provide. So I'm an unapologetic supporter of workers, union workers, and I don't care if it's the municipal workforce that keeps Philadelphia rolling or if it's the building trades that build. Now let me tell you how I'm going to ensure that diversity and inclusion occurs. You know all that midnight building that occurs when you're asleep and then you look at the people who are doing and you go to talk to them and you realize they're not being prevailing wage and they're being taken advantage of, being misclassified as independent contractors and not as full-time employees so people don't have to pay the wage tax, the unemployment tax. It's tax fraud. It won't take place in a Parker administration. You're not going to give people access to a temporary job. A career is what a union provides, and that's what we're going to do.
Thank you. As mayor, I'll probably unleash the biggest economic boom the city's ever seen, which will create opportunities across the board. But what we'll do with the schools is we will have at least five schools dedicated to the trades. And I've already talked to them about this. Electricians, sheet metal workers, sprinklers, plumbers, carpenters, 12th grade with a commitment that I will sit down with them that every graduate of high school gets a job in the union. And they will need workers because we're going to have an economic boom. In addition to that, though, I would also suggest I would implement 2 or maybe 3 public safety high schools that train police officers, firefighters, and EMT. So we grow our own. It's like the Philadelphia Phillies have 3 different sets of teams, right? AAA, AA, and single. They bring people through the system. We need to educate our residents so they can get these opportunities in the city. And I would do that with public safety. Now with police officers, you can't get a job till you're 21. So we'd have to create them to become cadets at 19 and 20. Thank you.
Ahmed Brown.
So when I first ran for office, I didn't have union support. I had the community support. I had the people behind me, a lot of you in this room. And you can't fight against diversity if you're controlled by the unions. I am pro-union. I support unions all day long. But I'm going to say that again. You can't fight against diversity if you're controlled by the unions. Us as elected officials, we have the power to lead. So if the unions are not going to include black and brown children in teaching and allowing our children in their trades at a very early age, teaching trades in high schools is going to be key to building successful futures. So we plan to work with the unions to include them in local schools, give them the opportunities to engage our youth at a very early age, and advocate pipelines for kids who don't want to go to college. I was one of them. The trades was my thing. So the conversation can't happen at the election table, but it must happen in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your answers to this question. This is the last question coming from someone online, and they will be answered in this order: Alan Dom, Warren Bloom, Helen Gim, Amin Brown, James DeLeon, Maria Sanchez, Jeff Brown, Rebecca Reinhardt, Derek Green, and Sherelle Parker. This is the question. As the election cycle continues, if it becomes apparent that you do not have a clear path to victory, do you love Philadelphia enough to lead the mayoral race and support an electable candidate?
So I'm running for mayor because I want what's best for the city. And if that does occur and I'm at the bottom of the pack, I will do that, yes.
I believe the greatest of human virtues is humility. Yes, to be humble enough to say, I don't have a path forward. The number one sin in God's economy is pride. Pride always comes before a fall. Please, the next mayor has already been chosen. We're just going through the process, but it won't be manifested until Tuesday, May 16th. Do the right thing. Vote for Bloom in the spring. I'm from the hood. I'll serve you good. Because when it's your time, everything rhymes. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I'm proud to be before you as one of 4 women who are probably amongst the most viable candidates in this race. I feel proud that we stand before a historic election when Philadelphia needs tough people in City Hall who've been relentless and supportive. I'm obviously going to do what's best for Philadelphia. I do believe that I am very viable and that I would look forward to seeing everybody at the polls on May 16th.
Amin Brown.
Yeah, I'm running for mayor to give our city the fresh start that we all know we desperately need. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I am here to bring that bold change that we so desperately need in the city of Philadelphia. And yes, if that occurs, then I will step out and support a leader candidate. Thank you.
See, you have to be very careful with that question in this respect. If you have a person that looks like they're going to be elected, but that person's background, that person's platform is not going to help you, black or brown people here in Philadelphia, but that person still is getting ready to become mayor, then you need to continue having a voice in the race, voicing for you. There's no dropping out if the person that looks like they're going to get elected is not going to serve you. Somebody has to continue speaking for you all the way through. So that's the reason why that question is not the question at this moment. So let's watch and see how this election turns out. Because you, the people, deserve representation because we have to overturn this poverty. And if they're not going to try to overturn poverty, then somebody has to stay in the race and continue talking about it.
Maria.
I'm sorry. Some gender bias in the room that I am trying to deal with. And not say what I want to say out of respect for the church.
You can say it outside, though.
I am not part of the billionaires club. I am not part of the millionaires club. I am a product of North Philadelphia with a lived experience that faced all the challenges the city needs and leads. The next person has to manage this conversation, and they can't do it from their space of privilege. They have to do it understanding that every time a decision is made, it impacts some family and someone in the city of Philadelphia. So the viability question is unfair when we have so many people with access to money who could be doing this or doing something else. I take public service seriously. I take this election seriously. And I think all of us should be honest about the seriousness of public service and why we get into it. So thank you.
Jeff Brown.
I'm running, to make the change I think we need. But like Alan said, if I'm at the bottom of the pack, I wouldn't want to stand in the way of getting a good mayor. So I would drop out if I were at the bottom of the pack.
Rebecca.
I'm running for mayor because I love Philadelphia and I believe that I'm best qualified to fix our city in this critical moment. That as the budget director for 5 years, I know the city's budget inside and out. As the city controller, I led with courage and called out the issues. I want to fix the city as mayor. So I'm going to stay in. I think it's up to the people. The people vote, that's democracy. So I'll stay in and fight for what's right for all of our people, and everyone can vote May 16th.
Derek Green.
I've been around the city for some time, and this is the largest mayoral field that we've had in some time. And it's about leadership and the fact that we need to have a leader of this city who's been tested in this process. It's not about on-the-job training. We have too many critical issues impacting every citizen in the city of Philadelphia and the future of this city and my future for my son. I'm going to stay in this race to make sure that we're asking the tough questions so that whoever is elected as the next mayor of the city of Philadelphia understands the complexities and the challenges of this job. That's why we have so many people running right now, because we don't have leadership in the city of Philadelphia. So you need to come through this process, hear questions from the voters, and hear questions and be challenged by other people who are running on some of these statements you made in this form or in a different form. It's about accountability, it's about credibility, it's about the candidates on this stage holding each other accountable, and also you holding us accountable to be the leader of the city of Philadelphia.
Sherelle Parker.
Out of crisis comes great opportunity. Right now, we are in a great debate about what the future of Philadelphia will be. I don't care if you are talking about gun violence, if you're talking about poverty, the power of a quality education. Sherelle Parker has lived experience that adds value to the professional experience that I bring to solve these complex issues. People in the city of Philadelphia want people to get things done, to fix things. They want to know, when you have a seat at the leadership table, how will I be able to quantifiably measure whether or not my community is better as a result of your leadership? Sherelle Parker's lived experience says, I don't want you on a poverty hamster wheel. I want you on a path to self-sufficiency. I want you owning your home, me not celebrating your renting unless you just don't want to shovel snow or pick up leaves. I want people on a path to self-sufficiency. We don't give up. We're going to fight to the end, because that's the way I was taught. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. This is the final opportunity for the candidates to give 60 seconds in your closing remarks. They will be given in this order: Warren Bloom, Helen Gim, Alan Dom, James DeLeon, Amin Brown, Jeff Brown, Rebecca Reinhardt, Derek Green, Sherelle Parker, Maria Sanchez. 60-minute wrap-up for your closing remarks. 60 seconds.
Again, I'm asking you to pray. Pray for who's going to be the next mayor of this city. If you don't know everything, God will direct you who's going to be the next mayor of this city. Just do the right thing. I'm blooming the spring. Word of mouth beats all technology. But I'm commanding and asking God's people to, if you want righteous government, you have to support that. And you have to use your voice. The greatest thing you have. Most of you right here are not only qualified to be mayor, and you're smarter than all of us up here, but you just don't believe it. So do the right thing. I'll represent you along with the Lord Jesus Christ. We can solve this. If we have the will to do it, we can save the city. But it's up to you and I to do it. Thank you very much.
Helen?
Pastor Moore, Mount Carmel, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come out today and listen. So whether you've known me for many years or whether you are meeting me for the first time, I hope what you'll see before you over the next, an election for the next mayor won't be determined over 86 days, but at least with me will be a 30-year track record of fighting for Philadelphia's children and families when I never had a title or power to do it. I made sure that when we stood up against austerity bureaucrats and career electeds and wealthy CEOs that told us that we didn't have the right to a decent school for our kids, when we couldn't keep a roof over our heads, or the right to even have an advance notice of a schedule of a job, that there were people out there, moms like me, who fought tooth and nail, stayed up all night, went out, figured out solutions, and we fought until we won. That is the kind of tenacity that I'm going to bring into City Hall. I am not here to start a job. I'm here to finish the job that I started 30 years ago when I was a teacher in the classroom and a 10-year-old looked me in the eye and said, is this city going to be for me? And as her teacher and as your mayor, that answer is going to be yes.
Alan?
Thank you, Reverend Rob. I believe the best way, if not the only way, to address Philadelphia's significant challenges is by focusing on what is most important. And right now, it's taking violent criminals off our streets, getting more people working at better paying jobs, increasing the affordable housing, getting more people into home ownership to create generational wealth, making sure every child can learn and fix our roads, fix the potholes, and get our city working again. It's not just that I have a different vision, I also have a different experience. I built a business from the ground up. I came here in 1976 making $15,000 a year. I knew nobody. I supported small businesses. I donated my salary on city council to schools. And I hope that Philadelphia will support me. I'm not big on promises. I'm really all about results. And we have big problems, but I have spent my career doing the hard things. I can provide the leadership we need. That's the most important, the leadership. And together we can make Philadelphia the city we all want it to be. Thank you.
James Leon?
As a judge, I led the initiative to reduce homicides in Philadelphia between 1997 to 2004 from 400 a year down to 250 a year for 8 straight years. Now, any life is a life too much to lose. And that's the reason why I'm now presenting with you the local incident management system, another program to reduce gun violence. But in this case, it also is a neighborhood revitalization program, and what you have to look at is that it's going to reduce crime, treat the people, and recover the neighborhood. And that's what I'm bringing to you. Thank you.
Ahmed Brown?
Being the mayor of this city, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. I have a proven track record of making tough decisions for my district and my community. So when you guys are thinking about who you're going to vote for, think about the track record and the history of the individuals on the ballot. Like I said, tough decisions are going to have to be made. We're going to understand that we have to reform broken systems and hold back bad actors accountable. That's going to be key to making our streets safe. And I vow to you that I will protect each and every family and I will make sure that your children have an opportunity to make it to the age of 18 to become whoever they want to be in life. So I'm asking for your vote on May 16th. Vote for Almond Brown. Thank you.
Jeff Brown.
We're a point in history in our city that we need a transformational change agent. And in my career, when I heard that people in the neighborhoods were living 20 years less because they need supermarkets, I put them there, even though everyone told me it was impossible. When I found out that returning citizens couldn't reach their potential because people wouldn't hire them, I hired them in thousands. Started a nonprofit to hire them in thousands and have a 98% success rate. When I found out they couldn't buy homes because of their record, I joined a nonprofit, PLSE, to clear 25,000 expungements for Philadelphia citizens. When I found out we have an anemic entrepreneurship rate among Black and brown communities, I started an incubator and incubated 300 or 400 Black and brown businesses. And I started the PA 30-Day Fund to save those businesses during the pandemic. We need a transformational leader. At this point in time, I'm the kind of person that will be relentless to make these changes. Nobody owns me. I will be here for the citizens to make the changes we need.
Rebecca Reinhardt.
Our city is in a critical moment. We're seeing challenges that we haven't seen before, but they're fixable. And we have an amazing city. Our people, our neighborhoods, our arts and culture, our businesses, our sports teams. But we need a government that is as good as its people. We need a mayor with the right experience, courage, and vision. My vision is for a safer Philadelphia, a cleaner Philadelphia. My vision is for the youth to have opportunity through fixing the schools and job pipelines. And my vision is to have a best-in-class city government where streets are clean and well-paved and we operate in the best way possible. I have the experience, courage, and vision to lead this city forward, and I want to be your mayor. Thank you.
Garrett Green.
I'm going to end where I began this afternoon. We know we have a gun violence issue in this city. It's the #1 issue. Every single person in this chapel and around the city knows that. We've had back-to-back years of over 500 homicides, and that cannot be acceptable. That cannot be the new normal. That's why Philadelphians should expect more and deserve better from our city. Now, in the Green administration, because I'm a former assistant district attorney who was once racially profiled while leaving the DA's office, I believe we can reduce crime without over-criminalizing our citizens. We can do that through the plan I released with a 25% reduction in shootings, with presence, bringing police officers that look like the city of Philadelphia, accountability, making sure we're going to hold people accountable who may try to victimize my 83-year-old mother. Also, opportunity. We're going to invest using the public bank to grow Black and brown businesses, provide jobs in the city of Philadelphia, and partnering with Philadelphia native Ken Frazier, where we're going to focus on capabilities, not credentials, and we're going to end with investment because we're going to invest in the city of Philadelphia because you should expect more and deserve better from our city.
Sherelle Parker.
The people in the city of Philadelphia deserve a safer, cleaner, and a greener city that provides access to economic opportunity for all. And no one like me has ever had the opportunity to lead this city. I am running for mayor because just like I implemented solutions, practical and pragmatic solutions to address issues in the communities that I represented, I want to deliver for the entire city. No one's coming to save people in the city of Philadelphia, but we want access to opportunity. And when you know that people want dignity and to be able to take care of themselves, you develop PHL, taking care of business so neighborhoods can be clean. You develop Philly First, closing cost down payment assistance so you can buy your own home. And you develop a neighborhood safety and community policing plan before it was popular and a poll told you to do so. When people told me I would get canceled because community policing wasn't popular, I introduced it anyway. Safer, cleaner, greener, access to economic opportunity for all. I've done it.
Maria Sanchez.
Thank you. The next mayor has the opportunity to build out this city. In the next 10 years, it'll be built out. And whether we're going to be part of it or not will depend on who we elect to be the mayor. The next mayor has to be unapologetic about saying we're going to invest in neighborhoods, we're going to invest in infrastructure, and what's going to make us safe is when we have real economic inclusion. And the government has to play a role in that. And every single department plays a role in that. Real equitable opportunity means we have to readdress the disinvestment we made in neighborhoods. It is easy for people to say we're going to be equitable moving forward, but no one's going back and saying, how do we lift all those folks? And lastly, how do we invest in people and business that is not loans, that it is not creating the debt situation that we have? Why are we requiring more out of black and brown businesses than we require out of other businesses? And real access means we're going to invest in neighborhoods, we're going to invest in people, we're going to invest in businesses, and we're going to move the city forward. We get one shot at it. 2 out of the next 5 employees of the city of Philadelphia will be hired in the next 4 years. Are they going to look like us?
Thank you all to each candidate for showing up and participating in this forum and the answers that you provided and the opportunity for your potential constituents to be able to meet and greet you. I know that it is the time of the year where petitions have to be signed. I ask that you do not do that inside the sanctuary. I ask that you do not do that inside the sanctuary and that you assemble either outside on the lower level, but do not do it in the sanctuary and bottleneck as people are leaving out to try to obtain your signatures. Don't mind if you get signatures, but just do it in a way that was not backing everyone up. Amen? Amen. God bless you, heaven smile upon you, and thank you for coming out.
I'm sorry. Welcome to welcome to LRTN. This is Liberia Radio and Television Network.
Wonderful, yes.
It's a minority-owned from Liberia. We cover the Philadelphia area. My name is Bobby Crawford. You did a good job, man. I mean, your answers were just to the point.
Wow.
Prince, you got it. Well, I know a lot of the questions that were asked, it was kind of condensed or compressed, and can you tell your voters, right? What you know had a chance to tell others, during this time,
yes,
so that people can know what your platform is all about. What make you think you are qualified to address the issue of gun violence, chronic unemployment, and all of the different issues that is plaguing the city of Philadelphia?
Because I, Sherelle Parker, was born to a single teenage mother and raised by my grandparents. And I know that putting people on a path to self-sufficiency is what you need so that people don't have to depend on government to take care of themselves. If I give you access to a quality public education, if I give you access to a career that will allow you to have a living wage, to have access to health care and retirement security, much of the violence that we see taking place in our communities, we will see that dissipate. When you think about renting versus home ownership, we have to have a healthy balance, but we need to create as much home ownership as we possibly can. That is how people can build generational wealth. And the difference between myself and the other folks who are running for public office is I am the only person who brings the level of intergovernmental experience that you heard me describe. You need assistance with local government.
government. You need knowledge of how state government works and have to have interacted with the federal government. Well, I did that for 10 years as a state representative, and 5 of those years I was chair of the Philadelphia delegation. So I'm perfectly situated to lead Philadelphia during this difficult time in our city's history. I also have the lived life experience that will allow me to focus on dignity. Some people want to come save those who are most vulnerable. I don't want to save anyone. I want our people to be self-sufficient and not need government to take care of themselves. Well, thank you, Ms. Parker. It's been a pleasure. I wish you good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Was this the district?
Derek Green.
Derek Green. You were the district attorney, right? You work as a district attorney?
I did work as a district
attorney. Oh, he
attorney.
gave me a business card.
Yeah, of course.
Well, welcome to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Bobby Crawford. A lot was said during the conversation. I know the time was compressed.
Right.
You know, I had a chance to actually present yourself or your platform.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to tell the listening audience out there about you and what your vision is with regards to combating crime in the city of Philadelphia, chronic unemployment, and all of those vices that seem to plague the beautiful city?
Well, I love the city of Philadelphia, the fact that I released a public safety plan. We're in the first year of a Derek Green administration.
Somebody left their cell phone in the pew.
So we got Pastor Moore in the background. But what I'm saying is that in the first year, we'll let Pastor Moore finish. But in the first year of a Green administration, we're going to have a 25% reduction in shootings. And we're going to do that because I'm a former assistant district attorney who was once racially profiled while leaving the DA's office. We're going to do that through presence, accountability, opportunity, investment. When I say presence, bringing in more police officers that look like the city of Philadelphia. And we can do that with hiring bonuses, which other cities are doing. I tried to bring it to Philadelphia, but this mayor wouldn't do it. In reference to accountability, working with the U.S. Attorney's Office. When I was at the DA's office, if you had a gun on you, you were afraid to get arrested. We don't have that certainty of punishment anymore. But we also got to provide opportunity for people to get out of the criminal justice system. So that's the opportunity. We're also going to grow businesses. As someone that comes from an immigrant background, my mom's family comes from Barbados, I understand the importance of small businesses. I've had a small business. I was a small business lender. That's why I created the idea of a public bank, to provide access to credit for black and brown businesses to grow in the city of Philadelphia. That's how we'll reduce some of the issues of gun violence and poverty. And the last piece is investment. We're going to invest in our city using smart technology and cameras and other things to make the city safer. So with presence, accountability, opportunity, and investment, that's what will make the city safer and grow the city of Philadelphia, because I believe Philadelphians should expect more and deserve better from our city.
Thank you, Brother Derry. I wish you good luck. We are on location. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We are at Mayoral Baptist Church with the Philadelphia mayoral debate. I'm here with the beautiful Maria for mayor.
Maria Quiñones Sanchez. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
A lot was said during the debate. I know a lot of what you wanted to say was actually condensed or compressed. Is there anything that was left out that you want the voters of Philadelphia to hear or know?
Well, I think we're at an important moment in our city's history, not only because of what the growth potential is over the next 10 years, but also because of our challenges. I'm running for mayor because I have a record. I have been a community advocate, a CEO, a legislator, and I want to be the next mayor because I grew up in North Philadelphia. I grew up in public housing. I'm in the first in my house to go to college. I understand the challenges. The next mayor has to manage an equity and inclusion conversation, and they can't do it from their space of privilege. They have to do it understanding. They have to see the work people are doing in the community, uplift the work people are doing in the community, and invest in the people doing the work in the community. There's a lot of people running. People have a lot of choices, but ultimately we need to pick someone who understands that growing the city doesn't mean displacing our most vulnerable. It's about growing the city and uplifting all of our neighborhoods.
Well, thank you, Maria. I wish you good luck. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We're on location at Mayoral Baptist Church in Philadelphia. Welcome and thank you. This is what was that? Helen Gale. Welcome to LRTN. A lot was said during the debate. I know I had the opportunity to fully explain your platform. This is your opportunity to talk to our listening audience out there.
what is your vision to combating crime in the city, chronic unemployment, and all the different issues that seem to plague the city of Philadelphia?
Yeah, so thank you very much. I'm Helen Gim, former city council member at large, former public school teacher, educator, and a mom. I'm running for mayor of Philadelphia because honestly, the kids are not all right, and it's taken and needs a tough Philadelphia mom like myself who has taken on some of Philly's toughest fights. We've made sure that our schools had what our young people needed. We fought to keep a roof over our heads, and now we're running to make sure that Philadelphia is the safest, cleanest, most livable city in the country. For me, I've been very clear that safety is one of the most important issues. So on day one, we're going to establish a state of emergency and make sure all of our city agencies are focused in on making sure that Philadelphians see a presence of not only just uniformed officers who are on foot and bike patrol, but as well individuals who are there for community violence interrupters, mediators in important situations. We're going to put everything to work to reduce 911 response times because when people call for help, they need to know that help is on the way. And we're going to make sure that we have safe routes to and from schools because no parent should be afraid when their children steps on the SEPTA line or on the footsteps of their school property. Their kids must be safe. But, we're not going to define ourselves by the worst thing that's happening to us. We have a city to build and something to grow. And on those two fronts, I think there's two things that are very clear. One, education. I'm a former public school teacher. As I said, earlier, I'm running for mayor because I knew from early on that this city can't rise unless its schools become better. And we need a mayor who actually knows what to do. The superintendent will be part of my cabinet. We're going to do day one on restoring teachers back into our schools, Black and brown teachers, to make sure that they are also mentors to our young people and our children. We're going to get a focus in on truancy, and we're going to make parents part of the solution. And then finally, what I'll say is, for economic opportunity, we're here to build this city and to help it grow. And that means we have to move a little bit away from chasing the big towers and the corporate actors, and we need to go back home. Every neighborhood in Philadelphia should have an economic hub. It's not that Center City is the center and everybody goes around it. It's that every neighborhood has a hub that is as resourced as a Center City. So that means businesses have an opportunity to settle, permits, pay their fines, get questions answered. We're diverting our monies out so that it goes to small Black and brown businesses, and then I think we'll see real opportunity.
Well, thank you for speaking with us. I wish you good luck. This is LRTN on location. You can come over. And I'm here with, you can come over, I don't bite. I like your suit. It's absolutely okay. A lot was said during the debate. I know you didn't have the chance to actually explain to the voters what your vision for the city of Philadelphia is. This is your opportunity to do so. We are the Liberia Radio and Television Network. It's a minority-owned radio station that reaches a lot of people, a lot of minority voters. So this is your chance to explain to them.
Look in the camera?
It's okay. What is your vision for the city of Philadelphia as far as gun violence, chronic unemployment, and all the different issues that seem to plague the city?
So I'll be brief, but number one, we have to get the violence under control. That's number one. And as mayor, I will have a public safety cabinet, and we'll have weekly meetings to focus on getting the violence under control. We'll take off the streets the most violent people. We'll prosecute illegal gun violations. We'll make sure the police are staffed. But in the long run, we have affordable housing issues. We have not good paying jobs. We have low paying jobs. We have poverty. We have education issues, crisis, and we have a public safety crisis. At the end of the day, it is all about leadership, because leadership can solve those problems by bringing people together to get the right results. In education, I'm a big believer for the long term. To teach in our schools financial literacy K through 12, to teach technology K through 12, and to teach entrepreneurship K through 12, and allow students in high school from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, go to school 4 days a week, work in a job 1 day a week, get credit, get paid, and get a summer job. For adults, I'm going to have 25 libraries or churches across the city. We're going to teach financial literacy, technology, and entrepreneurship for adults on a weekly basis.
Thank you. I wish you good luck. This is the LRTN location, and I got more people coming down for interview. My name is Bobby Mitchell Crawford. 2 minutes. I bet that's been 2. Welcome to LRTN. Is there anything that was left out that you want the voters to know?
Yes, I think at the end of the day, they need to make sure that they take full inventory. We have to make sure that the people take full inventory of what's most important to them, right? And make sure that they make a correlation between what is important to them and what the candidates are speaking about. One of the things that I focus on is how to listen to lead. You have to make sure that you're listening to your audience, your target audience, in terms of what's their pain point. And then how does that resonate with, what they're sharing with you in terms of their platform. We have to make sure that our priorities are in alignment. If we're able to do that, then we can be able to move forward. So establishing a consensus, a common sense consensus in terms of what's most important, but also then prioritizing how we're going to move forward. What we're going to move forward together first, and then second, and move on from that standpoint. And if we can move in accord, then I think we can get much done. A lot of the candidates are providing some great ideas and some great insight, and I hope at the end of the day we can establish what are the common goals that we have and different ways that we can approach it. Last but not least, we have to make sure that our approach is culturally sound. It needs to make sure that it resonates with the people that it's meant to serve. And if we're able to do that, I think we'll be able to actually make some strides.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you very much. This is Bobby Crawford on location at Mayoral Baptist Church in Philadelphia. And I'm here with the beautiful
Rebecca Reinhardt.
Welcome to LRTN radio station.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
They say we should look in the camera. You can come closer. I don't bite.
Okay.
So, I know, I had the opportunity to really give some poignant answers to some of the questions that were asked because of time. This is the opportunity to do so to the many listeners out there, people that are watching LRTN. What is your vision or platform for addressing gun violence, chronic unemployment, and all the different issues that seem to plague the city of Philadelphia?
Yeah. So our city right now is at a critical moment, and we need a mayor with the right experience, courage, and vision. I've worked for the city for 15 years, 10 years for 2 different mayors as the budget director and city treasurer, and the last 5 as the independently elected city controller. I've stood up for what's right and put forth thoughtful solutions, but I couldn't make the mayor do things. That is why I decided to run for mayor, because I love Philadelphia. I am a public school parent, and I want to fix the city, make it safer, cleaner, fix the schools, and make the city work for everyone here. That's why I'm running for mayor.
Well, thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much.
This is the LRTN on location. My name is Bobby Crawford, and I'm out.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Jilopa Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, or rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
This is Bobby Crawford. I'm here on location at the Mayoral Baptist Church, downtown Philadelphia, and I'm here with
Pastor Donald Moore.
This is Pastor Donald Moore. I'm nervous. He was the moderator for today's mayoral, was to ask you a debate?
A forum debate.
Okay, I'm just going to let him take it away.
So today we held the first completely attended forum for the mayoral race okay, we're waiting for somebody to walk by.
It's okay. The background noise is fine.
Okay, so we had the first debate where all of the candidates were present and in attendance. We were able to ask them direct and viable questions as it relates to what the city looks like under their mayoral tenure. It was well attended by a lot of people in person and online. And so we're really expecting for the next mayor, the 100th mayor of the city, to be transformative and not transactional.
Keep on.
Okay, so and there's some really, I don't know. Hopefully, you all will be able to go out and stream the conversation at MCBC Philly at Facebook and YouTube, MCBC Philly, and you can replay the conversation because there are a lot of candidates who did not answer a lot of significant questions and they skirted around them. So you all need to make sure you are electing a viable candidate that has your best interest in hand.
Now, the election is not until May
16th.
May 16th. Why are you having this event so early?
Because it's a critical decision and information needs to be disseminated sooner rather than later. And so we were strategic to hold one now, and then we were strategic to hold one now, and we're waiting because I know another church is having one in April. So that's why it was intentional. And you can see from the turnout that it was necessary.
So how will you gauge today's program? What were the success you think were you able to?
It was very substantive. It was well attended. The responses from everyone in person and online, they were engaged. So the outcome and the turnout was definitely a win all around for the city of Philadelphia.
And then finally, is there anything you want the people out there to know about your organization, your church, or anything regarding this race?
Well, I don't have anything in the race. We're Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 5732 Ray Street in the heart of West Philadelphia. We believe that we are the hearts and hands of West Philadelphia. And so if you're looking for a church, you can follow us on MCBC Philly, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of our platforms, and we would love to have you. Just a family member we haven't met yet.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.